Yeah. So there is a disease and insect pests of mushroom. Like what are the diseases that are we have seen? What are the different mushrooms? Their economical values, nutrition values, and the scenario of its production in world and India, and in different types of cultivation methods in India, and specifically like two mushrooms, oyster mushroom and button mushroom. Their detailed study we did in our syllabus. So in the syllabus, two more topics are left. There is a diseases and insect pests of mushroom, and one more that is post-harvest management. So we'll see what are the generally any cultivation, any crop you take in that regard. It is there will be a threat of insects and pathogens, and here the mushroom is a fungi. Mushroom is a fungi. Generally, it grows as you have seen while we discussed. It requires 65 to 70% moisture, 65 to 75% moisture, and this is a more suitable condition for fungi to grow than that of your other organisms. So it is more appropriate conditions. Generally, we are doing pasteurization, sanitation. We are doing generally whenever this kind of sanitation or pasteurizations are improper. Whenever they are improper, then there is a possibility of the infections, and you will be getting mostly you will be getting fungal infections here because the conditions are more suitable for fungi. And here we are using agriculture waste, which is a cellulosic material, and this there is a carbon rich material, and carbon rich material is a good source for the growth of fungi, not the bacteria or some other thing. Even some viruses also on fungi, some viruses which infects fungi also were observed. So this is a list of diseases like there is a soft mildew and a cobweb, the there's a brown plaster mold, white plaster mold, olive green mold, inky cap, green mold, tuffle disease, bubble disease, dried bubble. These are the few fungal diseases which are causing to the mushrooms. And the there's a blotch and wet spot or super rot. This is the one thing. And virus diseases, there is a La France and brown disease and watery strip, and X disease, dayback disease. These are the few things. But another major problem to this there's mushrooms is insects. There's scyrides, phorids, springtails, casids, and mites. Mites very often, whenever there is a fermenting smell is coming over there, the mites will go and they will create a problem. And there are certain sometimes, especially when you prepare there's a composting, because 29 days composting period is there. In that period, if you don't do there's a frequent mixing, frequent aeration, then there is a possibility of nematodes there. This is Mycelophagous nematodes and Saprophagous nematodes. These two are the possible. And especially there is a more threat with fungi and insects than that of other things. So the fungal diseases. As I told you, the major threat is there with the fungi and insects. So the fungi are concerned. Soft mildew, sometimes even this do come in our labs also. Whenever the raw material is there, whenever you are having the agriculture raw material, 3D like structures will grow on them. There is a Dactylium dendroides. The costly organism is here. It is a soft mildew or cobweb, and if fluffy white cobweb like molds will grow on the whatever you are casing made. I told you while prepare, it could be during the composting process or casing. We will be adding span plus substrate. There's a compost, and will be uh, initially it is a white, but later changes to pink with age. And the chief source of infection is soil, air. So water is like a wet surface and high humidity are responsible for the cultivation and this growing of this Dactylium species. So how we should control this one? There's a good ventilation and prevent. See, I told you we need to maintain the moisture level 65%. If it is crossing the 65%, this fungi will grow, and you should do a proper moisturization. There's a pasteurization. Otherwise, if at all if this comes again, then you are supposed to add there's a nitrobenzene, and with it 0.1% of diethane should be added to it, and it should be sprayed on it. That is a sanitation method. And the other thing is the other fungi is brown plaster mold. This is a brown. You can see in the image. It is a brown plaster mold. It appears like a plaster, and castio organism is here. Populospora bicina. Actually, Populospora is very frequently causing the diseases on the plants, the dead and decaying plants. There's a bark of the plants is infected with this Populospora species. Here, particularly Populospora bicina, and these symptoms are concerned. This occurs on cropping trees. Initially, cloudy white appearance, later changes to brown. So, whenever you are collecting the substrate from there, if it is not sanitized properly, it will come along with the substrate and it will start growing while you are doing a compost preparation. While composting preparation, so substrate selection. While selecting the substrate, if you find any molds on it, white molds or any colored molds on it, you try to discard that particular area, and you should choose a batch which is free from the fungi. And even here also, in this case, too wet conditions. As moisture is increased, there is a problem. High temperature is also caused for the growth of this, and there's a 28 to 32 degrees Celsius during the spawn run, and cropping at more than 80 degrees Celsius. It permits the growth of this particular fungi. So we should do the mushroom cultivation. Generally what we'll do, 25 degrees Celsius we'll use for there's a spawn running, and 20 to 25 degrees Celsius for spawn running, and there's mycelial growth. And for 80 and 18 or below, we'll be using for the mushroom fruits formation. So you should not use, there's a higher temperatures. So this may be growing if you are using above 18 degrees Celsius. So how to control that one? Maintain, there's a temperature maintenance is very important here. So you should not maintain the temperature, there's a above like higher ends. You should maintain the temperature at lower ends. During the spawn run and cropping time, if it comes infected, you should use 2% formalin. For 40% formaldehyde solution is called as formalin, and from that one you are supposed to use 2% formalin solution. There is another one is white plaster mold. This earlier one is brown plaster. You can see here. Earlier one, what we discussed is a brown plaster mold. See the plaster kind of thing. It will appear in brown shape, whereas this is plaster kind of shape you will get in white color. That's what it is called as white plaster mold. and that is popular species, and this is Scopopulars fimicola species. And it closely resembles to there's a brown plaster, whatever we have seen earlier. And mold initially it will be white in color, and gradually it changes to pink. And here also, generally the fungi, these other fungi, 65% moisture content is suitable for your mushroom cultivation. If the if the moisture is more than 75%, then these other things will grow in. And especially this anaerobic, while composting process, heaps will be kept over there. So in anaerobic fermentations, because air is not going over there, that leads to the heat production. We have seen heat goes up to 85 degrees Celsius, sometime 90 degrees Celsius. That increased heat leads to the formation of pests or the fungal growth in it. This additional increased temperature will create a problem. One is increased moisture level, second is increased temperature. So again, 2% formalin plus diethene Z78 with 0.2%. There is another one, olive green mold. Olive green mold, it's like your penicillium. Like your penicillium is there, it will be something like that one. The mushroom here, on mushroom, this earlier cases, whatever we have seen, the plaster, white plaster, brown plaster, most of the time they are taking place in only the composting cases, composting or cases. Whereas this one, olive green mold, even in the fruiting bodies, see, along with the fruiting bodies, see here, green molds or olive green molds are there along with the fruiting bodies also. So it is not just limited to the it is not limited to the composting, but it is also limited, it is also entering into the fruiting bodies. Okay, so it is caused by the Chaetomium olivacearum. Chaetomium species will be causing this one, and appears in the compost, spawn. Before spawn also, there is a chance of spawn infection. So if there is a spawn getting infected with this Chaetomium, then there is every possibility of there is a production, the chamber and production, entire thing gets infected with this one. And initially, like before the spores are formed, it will be white in color. Then gradually it changes into olive green and green color. And improper pasteurization and inadequate ventilation leads to it. This temperature below 60 during the pasteurization process. Temperature should not go above 60 degrees. We have seen we are not doing the pasteurization with very high temperature. And spray 0.2%. There's a therum and captum, and at the rate of 0.05% at trace, whenever the trace are there in that supposed to spray, there is a green olive mold. There is a one more inky cap. Inky cap, it appears to you like your mushroom. It is appears like a similar to your mushroom, but it is not a fleshy. It is a lot of see, it is easily, it gets spreaded into the area wherever it is growing. It is caused by the Coprinus logopus or Coprinus comatus. These are the two mushrooms. Sorry, we don't call them as mushrooms, but these are the two fungal species which creates a problem in our mushroom cultivation. So they are long cylindrical stalk with small thin cap and turns into black inky liquid. Some inky liquid, say like inverted cup kind of thing. These are some inverted cup kind of reverse cup kind of things, and they will be releasing there's a inky liquid, black inky liquid they will be releasing, and its presence indicates the presence of ammonia in compost. So while compost preparation, we should make sure that there is no ammonia smell. Not only this, there are some certain bacteria also which will enter into it. So we should make sure that there is no ammonia smell while preparing the composting. To control, trace of compost should be freed from ammonia, as I told you. And the repasteurization of spawn, if you see some kind of these structures, this small, there's a black inky, black liquid inky, that's a small mushrooms, or even liquid also, if you're able to see, then it's better to go for repasteurization. There's a 60 degrees Celsius for 2 hours, and spawned also should be added again. And recased again, it should be recased, it should be filled into the polythene bags. Green mold, there's a, actually it is a friend of the crops. There's a biocontrol agent, Trichoderma viride, but also it is a pathogenic agent. It is also a pathogenic agent. You know, recently, like when we were growing the cordyceps in our lab, and this Trichoderma viride we have grown for some industry people, and it has entered in cordyceps also like nothing. It is the complete cordyceps are contaminated with the Trichoderma viride, and we have a lot of batches were discarded because of Trichoderma viride. And it appears green patches on spawn and cased trays, and checks pin formation, and hence reduces yield is reduced here, and it gives some smell also. And fungus growth and decomposing matter, and dead mushroom tissues also will grow, and improper pasteurization and higher humidity are responsible for Trichoderma viride cultivation growth. So the control is 0.05%. There's a benylate. Benylate should be sprayed whenever you are expecting this Trichoderma viride species. Actually, Trichoderma viride we are using as a biocontrol agent because it produces certain peptides, small peptides, which are having a biocontrol capacity. Many fungal pathogens as well as nematodes will be controlled by this Trichoderma. So you must have like in agriculture microbiology, somewhere you'll be getting about this Trichoderma viride. Next, truffle disease. Truffle disease is called as Blasmia microspora, and appears of round cream-colored and wrinkled convoluted surface. This is a fungi again. It is a round cream-colored and wrinkled colonies will be appearing, giving it a brain-like appearance, brain-like structure. It will appear. On maturity, it turns reduced brown and releases the spores. And the growth is because of lack of ventilation and humidity. So if you can maintain strictly 65% moisture, then you won't be having these problems. Spawn run and the cropping bed temperature should be 18 and less than 18, and high humidity should be avoided in this case. Bubble disease. This is caused by the Mycogone pernicosa, and it appears like blisters kind of thing on your substrate as well as mushrooms. Dense white mat of mycelium leads to reduction in yield, and swollen stalks and swollen cap at the early stage. So it will be swollen cap as well as swollen stack, and in the initial stage, and gradually leads into the blisters. And it is because of unpasteurized compost is leading this problem. And control, and beds sterilized with 2% formalin. There is a compost production beds, and spray diethylene at the rate of 0.2%, and benylate at the rate of 0.5%. Then dry bubble and brown spot disease. This is, I think, a normal thing that what we get. It is caused by the Verticillium, and Verticillium. There is a ciliates, and see on the what kind of this mushroom? This is a button mushroom. On button mushroom, it appears like a brown spots. It appears like a brown spot. This is not fit for consumption. It is not fit for consumption. It is generally when you are culling, whenever you are packing, this kind of things are removed. resulting in irregular patches. They are not even regular. Irregular patches will come, and in severe infection, here even your mushroom may be distorted or it may be spoiled or what you call it, damaged. Affected mushrooms become lethargy. So control is dithane Z78 or 0.2%. There's a dithane Z78 at the rate of 0.2%, 3 times of at casing, and the control of high temperature at casing, and proper ventilation should be done to control this disease. And bacterial disease. Bacterial diseases, there are certain bacterial diseases also, as we discussed. Bacterial bloach, which is caused by the Pseudomonas tollasii. Pseudomonas, what do you mean by bloach? Generally on suit, whatever we keep a small, there is a structure that is called as bloach. So here also fungi will like a bloach kind of thing, a colorful bloach kind of thing will appear on the top of this mushroom. Appearance of brown, slightly sunken blotches on the mushroom cap, and spots are irregular, yellowish to dark brown color. They will be there. So main source of infection is infection soil, and it separates through the flies, mites, and nematodes. So the bacteria easily gets infected through this flies, mites kind of thing. So how to control this one? There's a soil sterilization should be properly done. There's a proper ventilation should be there. Use of chlorinated water. There's a chlorine. If you can use, and it will be better. Terramycin antibiotics can be used. In earlier years, there's a sanitizers, disinfectants we have used, but here terramycin is an antibiotic at a concentration of 9 mg per feet of bed. We can use that is while preparing the casing. Wet spot or sour rot. The wet spot is caused by the Bacillus species. Even we have witnessed this while our cordyceps growth. What happened? Like it will be the your whatever the thing that you have prepared. It will be completely spoiled. It will become mucus. It will be mucus like heat resistant. It is caused by the heat resistant Bacillus species. A dull gray to mucus like brownish slime characteristics will appear over there. Like sometimes when you are keeping your rice outside for a few days, so it will appear like a slimy kind of thing. So similarly here also the same thing. So soaking the grains at temperature 12 to 24 hours prior to sterilization should be the because if you are soaking the grains 12 to 24 hours, then this endospores of the bacillus gets germinated. So when you do the germination, when you do the sterilization subsequently, these bacillus species can be easily killed. Otherwise, these endospores are resistant to the sterilization. That's what, if without soaking, if you keep for the sterilization process, this bacteria will not be killed over there. Viral diseases, various viral diseases like La France and brown disease and watery stripe and X disease, Debug disease. So all different kind of diseases. Mostly the common symptoms are there. There's mushrooms get shriveled, means they're shrunken and leathery and brown colored. Under humid conditions, stripes become watery and gray. Delayed appearance of pinhead formation means there's a fruiting gets delayed. Cream and off-colored mushrooms suffer less than pure white variety. So these are the diseases of pictures of viral diseases. So how we should control? Generally, if you suspect viral diseases, in earlier cases, the high temperature is a problem. For fungi, high temperature is a problem. If the temperature is increased more than 20 degrees Celsius, or in certain cases 18 degrees Celsius. But here, if the temperature is low, this viruses will grow. So you have to incubate at the temperature 70 degrees Celsius for 12 hours in order to control the viruses, because viruses are temperature sensitive. And here treating the trace with 4% sodium pentachlorophenate, there is a 0.5 to 1% soda solution. If you can use that, is also maybe some extent. And disinfection doors, floors, and walls with 4% formaldehyde, and proper sanitation. These are the solutions for your viral problems. But now as we are facing the COVID-19 situation, see, the antiviral substances are disinfectants are not much suitable for this viruses. If they are not there in that is what you call mushroom or fungi, then this disinfection methods may be suitable. So you should do whatever the disinfection or the treatment process before the mushroom formation. Once the mushroom formation is there, then virus has occurred. The best procedure is you remove that batch. Insect, I told you the two major problems. The one is fungi and insects. Even if you can write these two concepts, there is different types of fungi and different types of mushrooms. Sorry, these insects, that may be quite enough. Mushrooms are also attacked by the insects and pests, and these are some insects. There's a springtails, there's a phorid files, sacred files, mites, nematodes. These are the few things, and they lay eggs and larvae, feeds on compost, and eat away the mycelium and burrow the stalks of the mushroom. We'll see one. This is a Scirids, and scientific name are Lycorella fensteralis, or Scarcia scaropia, and Scaria agaria also. These are the few insects. There is a Scirids, and dark in color, generally black in color, cylindrical body with long antenna. You can see there is a long antenna, tough and long antenna. Larvae is most harmful than adult, and feed on compost. Like a military, they will make a lot of sound, and they will eat the substrate over there. Larvae makes tunnel cavities in the mushroom also, so the quality of mushroom gets disappeared. See, on the mushroom, how these the holes are there. You can see tunnels are created with this one. Here it is growing in the tunnels. Strict hygiene in mushroom house. Proper and there is a turning during the composting process. That should be there. And drench of there's a spray of malathion. There is a 0.1%, and a chlorofenifos dish. There is a 208 ml per ton should be sprayed for controlling of this insect. Then springtails. Springtails are Megacilla and Megacilla nigra, or agrica and bovistra species are also there. And they are very small insects that cannot be seen directly with the naked eyes. When they are in mass, they look like gunpowder. See here, you can see the this gunpowder kind of thing. This is the springtails, and mostly feed on the mycelium and attack the stacks and caps of your mushroom. So the mushroom quality is lost. And here clean cultivation should be practiced, proper pasteurization should be done of compost and cleaning materials, and use, if at all, if you got this kind of small gunpowder kind of thing, and you should use 0.05% malathion as a spray of disinfection. You can be used, and spray dichlorous, that is of 0.025% to 0.05% during the spawn run. Phorids. Actually, I don't know whether you are aware or not. Actually, phorids are used for studying the phloem, the functions of xylem and phloem. they got they got a capacity to penetrate its mouth parts into xylem and phloem, deeper kind of things. And see, they have used the insects to infect on this xylem and phloem of smooth plants, and with anesthesia, the animal was removed, and from these mouth parts, the phloem and xylem parts were collected. Okay. Okay. These phorids, they cause much damage to mycelium and sometimes make tunnels because of its big mouth parts. This front end is tapered. Their front end is tapered. Their larvae causes more damage than that of adult. Control. Strict hygiene should be practiced, and proper turning during the compost process. Mix with compost. The diazinon, there's a 200 mg, 200 grams per ton should be used, and formalin 0.2% at the time of casing should be used. Mites are everywhere. If any foul smell comes over there or fermenting smell comes over there, then this mites will go over there. Small insects, these are the small insects. So mycophagous mites and saprophagous mites, these are the two things which are nuisance for us. Mycophagous mites, red pepper mites, generally feed on the weed molds, and the tiny mites are yellowish brown in color, and may be present on the surface of the casing soil. And saprophagous mites, these are translucent white, long hair on body, and feed on the mycelium, causing the shrunken caps, and causes complete destruction in buttons of button mushroom and tropical mushrooms kind of thing, and introduced in with the help of in compost by the flies. Flies are getting this eggs of the mites, and these mites are going in the compost. These are the things. These are the mites. We can see these mites almost wherever there's a fermentation is going on, wherever the foul conditions are there. If you don't maintain the hygienic conditions, then these mites will be coming over there. Mycophagous mites and saprophagous mites. So controlling of these mites, cleaning the mushroom house and disposal of organic debris should be done properly, and disinfecting the mushroom house by spray of there's a dicofol, there is a 0.1%, and spraying the compost of diazinon, there is 1.5 to 2 ml per 10 ml of water should be added, and it should be sprayed on the compost. Nematodes. Mushroom nematodes, there are some, so generally they will be coming from the compost itself. They will be from the raw material like wheat straw, chicken manure, horse manure, sawdust. Whenever you are getting from there, these nematodes will come. If the moisture conditions are there in that area, nematodes will the eggs of the nematodes will be hatching over there, and they will be growing. And wooden trays, shelves, and other containers, etc., can be primary source of infection. And the spreading is, once these nematodes get entry into the mushroom house, they further spread through the air. There's a faulty spray of water and workers' hands and implements, and mushroom flies and mites, these kind of things. Because eggs are there, they will be easily spreaded in the entire mushroom house. The mushroom of nematodes are following, and there's a nematodes are also two types, like whatever we have seen mites. There's mycophagous or mycelophagous nematodes, saprophagous nematodes. Mycelophagous, there are Aphelincoides composticola. And these nematodes feed directly on the mushroom mycelium and the fruiting bodies. This mycelophagous, as the term indicates, mycelophagous, directly they will infect either that mycelium or the fruiting body directly, or the mushroom, that whatever your mushroom is there. They have provided with a special type of mouth parts. There is a stylet or needle-like structure, which this parasite punctures the hyphae and inject the digestive juice and suck the cellular content. Such a nuisance. It is having a stylet or needle kind of structure in its mouth parts on these nematodes. So they will pierce. There's a cell wall of chitin cell wall of there's a mushroom cell wall, a hyphal cell wall, and they will release the saprophytic enzymes, digestive enzymes into it, and they will suck along with this digested food. They will suck the there's a cellular contents also. Cellular contents also it will be aspirating or sucking. Yes. The second category, saprophagus nematodes. Rhabditis species. Rhabditis species are there in this category. There have been tube-like mouth part instead of stylet. There you are having a stylet. That is what you call a needle type of thing. Here it is a tube-like structure, and here the basic job is sucking the nutrient particles from the substrate. So it is a purely saprophytic. This is a purely saprophytic. That is a parasitic kind of thing. In that first case, it will pierce with its needle kind of structure. It will make a puncture into the cell wall. Then it will release the enzymes into this mycelium or fruiting body. Then it will digest the intracellular content of fungi. Then it will aspirate entire thing. It will digest and it will take it out. In saprophytic thing, its mouth is a tube-like structure, and its a basic job is it aspirates. It takes the nutrients from the substrate. Whatever the digested compost substrate is there, from that it will be taking the nutrients. So it is not able to create any damage to the mycelium because they don't have a needle kind of structure. It is just tube-like structure. That's what it will aspirate the things. They spoil the structure and the quality of the compost from cropping bed. Is emitting foul smell and reducing in yield, reduction in crop duration and quantity loss for the sporophorus. So the symptoms of nematode infections: the compost surface sinks. That's a heap of the compost gets shortened, and mycelium grows. There's a sparsely in patches and turns stingly. It won't mycelium run won't be very high. It will be growing very slow, and the white mycelium starts disappearing from the infected mushroom compost. So wherever there is a mushroom, wherever there's a nematode is there, there's whatever the mycelium growth, white mycelium growth is there, that will be disappearing, leaving only there's a chorus strands here and there showing black compost mass will be appearing over there, but white color will be disappearing. Because of build of high population of bacteria, compost becomes soggy and foul smelling will be coming over there. The pinheads turn brown, there won't be white color. And the high population of watery and remote stand, the fruiting bodies appears in patches in beds, and due to reduction in flush pattern and crop duration, the yield is drastically reduced. The yield is going to be very much decreased with the nematodes. How to control these nematodes? First of all, nematodes are not produced there. They are coming from somewhere else. That is coming through human activities, air, or utensils. So all round hygiene should be practiced here. Complete hygiene should be practiced when you want a good there's a yield, mushroom yield. If you want proper pasteurization of compost and casing material should be done, and drenching of mushroom houses and there's a permissions with some disinfectants should be practiced here, and the use of fresh polythene bags and sterilization of empty trays or trolleys with formalin or other disinfectants should be practiced. And growing resistant mushrooms varieties like Agaricus Betroquus and Pleurotus sajoricus, some resistant species should be grown in that one. So on this species it will not grow. And nematode trapping fungi like Arthrobotritis. Arthrobotritis is a super fungi. It infects on nematodes also. So this should be, or this Arthrosportus superba, robusta, oligospora should be grown there, so that nematodes can be controlled. And several species of Pleurotus can be used as a biocontrol agent against mushroom nematodes. And mixing of, this is there with the Pleurotus, mixing of plant extracts of neem and castor, groundnut, and karanji in compost at the time of spanning and cropping should be encouraged, so that it will not allow the growth of these nematodes. So this is about diseases, the pest and insects problem, nematodes problem, which is causing to the mushrooms. Now we'll see post-harvest management technologies. Post-harvest technologies. After the production is over, you are sending into the market, but sometimes you may not be able to send it in a time, or you must be having a huge production, but there must be no market for it. So you should have some sort of post-harvest management in order to increase its lifespan or increase its usage. So what should we do? So mushrooms contains 85 to 90% of water, so they are perishable. They easily gets damaged. So mushrooms comes under the perishable category, like tomatoes are under perishable category, and all the vegetables, fruits, they comes under the perishable category. So here the mushrooms got 85 to 90% of water into it, and shelf-life of mushroom is 1 to 2 days, and picking of mushroom is similar picking an apple from a tree. So once see, after the apple has been taken out, it has to be consumed, it has to be used at the earliest. At least apple, they are applying some wax coating over there, so its shelf life gets increased. So something you should do for mushroom also in order to increase its shelf life. So why we should why should we preserve the mushrooms? Basically, they grow in flushes, like they grow in large quantities. Every 8 to 10 days, they are harvested in abundance. Day when they're good in production, demand may be low, or vice versa. Maybe sometimes, see, winters, this mushroom soup is highly preferred when you compare with the other seasons. In this rainy season and winter season, this mushroom is highly consumed. So we will be the winter will be producing, but starts by the end of winter, your production will come. So we should preserve it in order to get it around the clock, around the year. The present such a there's a glut in the market, it is necessary to preserve them. So what happened? Everybody are producing at the same time. If you don't have a preservation concept, then what happened? The price goes down, and the farmer will end up with a huge loss. And mushroom requires a great deal of attention during storage, marketing, and processing at the post-harvest stages. So post-harvest techniques are included, like harvesting, cleaning, grading, cooling, packing, transportation, marketing. Already there's a harvesting, cleaning, grading we discussed while the production process is concerned. But as a separate topic, it is there. That's what I am dealing here. Separate as a topic. Harvesting, we have seen, even in the video also, we have seen how to harvest it and how to clean it and how to grade it. We have seen. We'll continue here also. So harvesting is nothing but picking up. Once the mushroom, either it is a button mushroom or oyster mushroom, once it has come to a mature fruiting body, it has to be taken out. And see the stalks, substrate, if the stalk is having any substrate to it, or any foreign bodies are there, that they should be removed with a sharp knife. And once harvesting is done, it should be graded, like a small sized, based on the size and based on the intactness. The ruptured one will be kept separate, and intact mushrooms will be kept separate. And once after grading, they should be pre-cooled. We are supposed to go for a packing. Before going for a packing, it should be pre-cooling should be done, and it can be done a fresh pre-cool. There is a pre-cooling, or see, if you whatever we are getting in supermarkets, they are fresh packs. Right? Directly, there is a pre-cooled mushrooms. They are packed in a packet. It is sent to the market. But for a long process, it should be processed. Long duration, it should be processed. It should be done canning or drying, freezing or picking. Something should be done for this one. Canning is see, there's a material at very low temperature. Complete moisture is removed from there. It is almost, see, canning at low temperature, whereas drying at high temperature. That these two differences. Both the techniques are drying basically. And here in vacuum condition, in can, we are applying low temperature in vacuum conditions, and it is sealed. You must have seen a lot of canned foods that are available nowadays. And drying and freezing, there's keeping at low temperature, and pickling actually this is. And packing should be done in pouches or cartoons, and transportation, it could be by road or by air, and it should be marketed. This is a flow of the thing what we'll do. Harvest, mostly manual harvesting is done. There's a picking of mushrooms is a similar picking of apple. This is the harvest. What is the mushroom? This one. What is this mushroom? Is it a button mushroom or oyster mushroom? Somebody respond. Upender? Hello? This is the oyster mushroom. This is how to harvest. And this is button mushroom. And button mushroom should be like anti-clock and clockwise you are supposed to move in case of your harvesting. And cleaning. And removal of unwanted straw due to cleaning a mushroom, its quality improves over there. So this with a knife, you are supposed to cut its stalk, which is spoiled, and it should be washed. It should be washed with water. And grading is separating based on the size and thickness that we'll do. There's a color also, size, color, and shapes are responsible for the grading process. And there's a pre-cooling wherein the produce is kept in a plastic bag and stored in a cooling unit. There's a -20 or some will be there. There will be keeping. So packing is essential to protect the mushroom during the market. It is generally packed in polythene bags. See, these are the packing things. This is the oyster mushroom. This is a pre-cooling actually. The large, huge amount of mushrooms are kept at low temperature for some time before packing. And this is a automated packing kind of thing, packing machine. So marketing, see, as mushrooms are perishable product. In fact, we are trying to improve shelf life by pre-cooling and packing, but still its shelf life is not very high. So of course, if you are doing some drying kind of thing, drying or defreezing or canning kind of thing, definitely its shelf life will be increased, but the cost also gets increased. But most of the time, the fresh, whatever the fresh mushrooms are there, either it's the butter mushrooms are highly consumed. You go to the any supermarket nowadays, these butter mushrooms are available. There's a 200 grams pack, is around 50 rupees or 100 rupees it is coming. So they're fresh and dried mushrooms. They are packed, they are pre-cooled and they are packed in contained polythene packs, and they are sent to there's a major cities like Hyderabad, Vijayawada, Pune, Mumbai, such kind of thing, Delhi, Chandigarh, other things, and it is sold over there. So these fresh mushrooms are consumed. The second category is dried mushroom. Dried mushroom are canned mushrooms, and these dried mushrooms, generally these dried mushrooms, fresh mushrooms are utilized in this curries and different preparations, even soups also. Whereas dried mushrooms are much preferred for soups kind of preparations. So preservation of mushrooms, canning, it is a process of preserving mushrooms in a brine or butter. There's oil, vinegar. You must have seen even olives, canned olives are available. So brine is the most preferred. Brine is nothing but this the salt water. Salt water. So in the salt water or vinegar water, what happens here? Your this mushrooms are kept and it is packed. So there are 6 steps are involved in this canning procedure. First, cleaning should be done. Cleaning of your mushroom should be done, and bleaching, blanching should be done. Can filling and sterilization, cooling and labeling. Canned mushrooms from major share of the world trade. So canned mushrooms are giving. We don't have much canned mushrooms eating practice in India, but in abroad, people are having more of canned food. Drying is the age-old practice of preserving mushrooms at ambient temperature. With advanced technology, different kinds of dehydration processes have been developed. Sun drying, mechanical drying, air drying, microwave drying. Even there's a radiation-based drying is also available. In fact, for cordyceps, we have purchased and it is there with us. And among these, the microwave drying is the best method. See, this is how it dries. This is sun drying. This is the drying of mushroom. This is a hot air oven. Packing is in this process. Mushrooms are fried with spices and allowed to cool and fit in the bottles. This is also one of the methods. This is about the preservation of post-harvest management of mushrooms. There is a one slide which tells you. I'll take you one second. It's academical. See, if you want to start a project, that's a mushroom cultivation farm of 8,000 kg per annum. That's if you want to grow that 8,000 kg the mushroom, then the plant the things required and what is the income, there's a what is the input cost, what is the outcome coming out of it. There's a financial implications it is called as. So for plant machinery we required around 450 trays. There's a wooden cases are required, and sprayers with pumps 3, and microsomatic automatic humidifier. There's a water sprayer, and room heaters 3, and the other equipment, small kind of things, and miscellaneous. Total put together, the cost is around 90,000 for plant and machineries. And the utilities, the power supply. See, suppose like 5 kilowatts, 6 hours we are using for 200 days. There's some water is also, if you calculate under the utilities, the cost is going to be around 25,000. This is calculated by Solan, the Mushroom Research Center, Solan. And raw materials are see, nothing comes free. The composting, including casing soil, there's the entire thing that comes. See, I told you, if you even if you prepare the compost itself, uh, that gives you, see, here the cost is added as 10 rupees per kg. If you are preparing and selling into the market, there is a good market for it. And spawn, 400 trays for 800 bottles. There is a rupees 16 per tray. There's a here. There's a in bulk, but we got 50 rupees per one tray. It is there in Hyderabad. And chemicals and other for disinfection kind of thing, packing materials, all put together, raw material cost will go for around 42,000. And manpower, there is a skilled manpower. There should be one person. There's a trained person. So there's a per month 7,500 if you are giving to him. So it will be his salary. Then unskilled persons, there is a 20 days per month. There is a labor. If you are engaging, there is a per month around 4,000 will be giving to him. So put together, there is a monthly requirement will be going to 11,500. This one. Next, working capital. That is working capital is concerned raw materials. This at a time we are supposed to purchase this one. This is raw materials, recurring expenses, and other miscellaneous. It is 42,000. Cost of project, the building construction we need to do. It must be self or on rent. We may be getting that one. And plant machinery, there is 90,000. We have seen in the beginning how it comes. And furniture and fixtures, there is 7,000. Preliminary and pre-operative expenses 3,000. And insurance at all, if it is a government, because it is a government body constructed one, it will be coming around 10,000. And working capital we have given in the last slide. See, this plant machinery is 90,000, utilities 25,000, and raw material 42,000, manpower is 11,000 something. So those figures we are getting here. So cost of project is 1,40,000. And if you calculate project economics, how much you are getting? See, mushrooms is 88,000 kilograms if you are getting, and if you are selling at the rate of 50 rupees per kg, this is wholesale price. And now in Reliance, I think Reliance are all major supermarkets. The packs are 200 grams packs are there, butter mushroom. And if it is fresh one, they will say with 100 rupees, there's 100 rupees per pack. In the sense, it is 500 rupees per kg. But just we should calculate at lower end. So if you calculate 50 rupees per kg per 8,000 kilograms, so the cost will be 4,80,000. And the cost of production, this is going to be the cost of production. So that is the outcome. This is the income that you are getting. Whereas our investments are concerned, there is a 1,27,000 is a raw material cost. That is 42,400 into 3 production cycles. 3 times we are doing production. Okay. And utilities, there is a power, fuel, water, the 25,000. Salary and wages, there is 11,500 that has come per month into 12. That's 1,38,000. And rent of that room or whatever may be 2,000 into 12. There is 24,000. Transportation and other things 5,000. Convenience and traveling 5,000. And administrative overheads, if something is there, that is 5,000. So selling expenses 10,000. Insurance 4,500. Repair something will come 5,000. Interest is 8,300. And substance of there's a applicant, there is a 30,000. So all put together 3,87,000. So you got 4,80,000 by selling these mushrooms, and your expenditure is 3,87,000. So the gross profit is 97,000. If like sometimes we will consider this is a business model. That's what it is called as depreciation. Maybe 10% loss if it is there. 10% loss. If you remove the 10% loss, then the profit is 82%, 82,000. So just in 3 months, by cultivating the mushrooms, if you are trained good, if you are good practicing, you will be getting you'll, with a price of 50 rupees per kg, we have given here. But now the market price is, so of course there is a benefit of so many peoples. Somebody is the wholesaler, somebody will be the retailer, and so it will chain goes on. So the cost gradually gets increased. So it may not be 50, but it will be definitely 100 rupees per kg. Per kg, I'm talking you. So even that case also, you will be having huge, almost double of almost 2 to 3 lakhs in 3 months. We will be getting the benefit if the cost goes to 100 rupees per kg. So this is the economics is concerned, cost economics. So now we'll see the syllabus. This is the syllabus of your SCC paper. Mushroom cultivation, importance, history, global status and Indian status, edible mushrooms, and nutrition values and health benefits. That comes in the first unit. And second unit, we have steps in mushroom cultivation, selection of site, types of mushrooms, mushroom from the structure, design, layout, principle and techniques of compost preparation, principles of spawn production, casing and crop production, harvesting and marketing, entrepreneurship development in mushroom cultivation. This is what we discussed. Pests and pathogens of mushrooms, we discussed. And post-harvest handling and preservation of mushrooms. These are the things. This is the syllabus, and with this we finish. And I'll be happy to address if you have any queries. Yes, students. Now it is open. Now platform is open for